This is Marc Magarin. We're here on the ASKSERVA show, episode 2. We're gonna see what's up with Marc. He about to, talk a little bit about himself, because you already know me, what I do, a little bit in business and ServaMedia. So we'll start off with Marc.
So I'm Marc Magarin. I grew up here in Antioch, California. Right now I run a small startup. It's an industrial design firm. We specialize in providing industrial design services to companies, especially older ones that probably haven't had a current update in technology. So we help them bring all their products up to date, all their interfaces up to date, all their marketing artwork up to date, and we've been kind of been in business for since January officially. So
it's right there. Look, American PD product development. So y'all need some products and a little fidget spinner now.
We make everything.
Oh, you should have brought something.
I should have brought something. I didn't. All right.
It's good though, but you got a little bit know what he does. There's this company in the back. We got ServaMedia on the side, Magarin PD right there. So he does engineering. If you have any questions right now about engineering, whoever's watching, throw some out there. Doesn't matter. Now we're gonna keep going with the flow.
So how's your story? Tell us about your journey.
My journey.
Tell us how it started. How you're interested in engineering?
So how I got started in the business. All right. So ever since I was very young, I was always a hands-on type of person. I always like to learn and always like to build stuff and destroy stuff and take stuff apart. I would destroy my mom's vacuums. And I think everybody who's more or less in my field of work kind of started that way. But what really helped me out in starting the company and learning about how to do industrial design was in high school. I went to Antioch High School at the Edge Academy, the engineering academy that they had there. They started in 2014, and they pretty much had like a framework teaching students basic engineering. It's like a pathway, so it kind of got students interested in what kind of fields they want to go into, and I chose the engineering one because I found out that's if you want to build stuff, that's pretty much who you had to be. And I learned how to manipulate different modeling softwares and engineering softwares, and I got really good at it and eventually started offering it as a service. And pretty much kind of grew from there. I spent about 4 years just learning how to do different things and teaching myself, and up until recently figured out a way how to sell my knowledge and my skills to people who would need me. And that's pretty much a small snip on how I came to this point in running this company.
He did go to LMC right down here in Pittsburgh, so for all you cats out there in LMC, that just goes to show that you can do it no matter where, no matter what place you're at. If it's community college or high school, he's turned something that he loves to do into a business. So that's the thing I try to tell people, is that you're not limited to what school offers you or what tells you to do. I love what I do in media, and I love technology, and I'm trying to find a way, to really infuse it with a platform or find out, the more different things that I can do out there with it. So it's not really, I'm not limited to what people or society tells me that I should do, going the college route, which I am doing, but it's not just my end goal. Just like Marc, where are you going now to?
University of Nevada, Reno.
You going to University of Nevada?
So we just moved out to Reno, actually last weekend. And like Nilton said, I do engineering, and not technically yet. This is not an engineering company yet. That's what I'm going to school for, is to achieve a degree in mechanical engineering and industrial.
So you're doing it illegally?
I'm doing it legally. That's why we're an industrial design company. We don't do any engineering, not yet. That's the goal. That's the future goal after I obtain the engineering license. But that's pretty much why I'm still going to school. I could literally quit and just keep doing this, but that's not where I want to stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop.
Nah, but that's good though. See, now that he's about to go out there, that's why we're trying to get him on the show, talk a little about what he does. Because really think about it, you don't really hear about no product development out here in Antioch. You don't hear about, what's the point of view of an engineer, what things they're doing, and this type of stuff, that the line of work that he does, you don't see it out there. What Marc's doing out here is really not something you would expect someone our age to start getting into. And start making really good money on it too, because it's not something, engineering is not, it's not something you do, it's not hard labor and getting paid cheap, he's working smart and hard, so that's a big plus for him. And he's doing it because he loves it, and that's why he's pursuing it, to go and get his license, so then he can practice engineering. So it's really great what he's doing.
So I know you're part of the What was it like?
Oh, talk about
LMC?
the NASA project.
You were part of the NASA project.
Oh yeah, so yeah, what kind of got me the boost in business as far as in education was we did a project for NASA, a microgenetics project. We basically had to design and build a core sampling system for loose material on an asteroid, and NASA put out this competition through all the colleges in the U.S. to come up with a tool or a type of system that can achieve certain things that an astronaut would need to do on an asteroid mission. And I decided to choose the hardest one, just because all the other ones looked too easy. and we ended up, that was the first time they ever gave that challenge as well, so we had no previous designs to bounce off of. It was all purely just guessing in the beginning. You know, the design process is how it is. It's kind of just looking at your constraints, looking what the project and the problem is, and then figuring out a way to meet those problems with the solution. And so with this challenge, we kind of spent 9 months just designing and redesigning this tool, this core sampler, and eventually, actually we have it on the website if you want to pull it up. This system that can collect loose material like sand or dust in a 0G atmosphere. And if that doesn't sound difficult, it actually is almost impossible without the proper equipment. Because if you ever went to the beach and try to pick up wet sand, or any sand in general, in your fist, you know that it slips out of all types of crevices. So, and we can't just do that with the loose material in an atmosphere. Where there's no atmosphere, there's no gravity. Substantial enough to compact it. Like here, you take a core sample of dirt, but it's all held together with water and its own pressure. But in space, there is nothing holding it together, so you have to develop a special type of system. Is it up yet?
That's coming up right now.
So
there it is, right there.
Yeah. So this is the tool right here. This is a render of it. I don't know if you guys can see that. And that was the final design that we took to NASA. We went to Houston, Texas,
NASA,
to test it in the NBL. The Neutral Buoyancy Lab, where we had special divers and astronauts and engineers test the tool and see if it would work properly, and ended up being the only one out of the tools that actually functioned the way it was supposed to function. They actually collected sample and it held it, and it was safe for the astronauts to use. The other designs were kind of inferior in some aspects. They didn't really work. And I don't know about this year's project. I don't know if they figured out a way to do it differently than we did. I'm sure they did, but that was our first approach. That was my first approach to an actual huge engineering project for a large association like NASA. And so that having that under my belt, having that experience, all those mistakes and stuff, like we weren't, no money was on the line, so we weren't paid for anything. So it was kind of like it was free learning basically, kind of a crash course in product design and tool design and stuff like that. And so with that knowledge I had acquired with this project, I kind of took it and I figured out a way to sell it. So I had put it, and I advertised that I've worked on this project before, and I had experience in actually a company called Mizuho, Surgical Tools picked me up. They actually contacted me, and they wanted to know if I can help them out and do some drafting for some tools for them. So I did, and it ended up to be a really cool project because now we're designing a tool tray for them, and it's kind of taking what I learned from the beginning and now applying it to now. Now it's like a real test. Now it's like a real project. So now I have to make sure that everything turns out extremely perfectly, because this whole thing, the reputation of myself and the company's on the line for this one product that we are working on right now. And so that's kind of where that NASA project comes into play with my line of work, is it kind of helped me get from just a student who knew how to do something on a computer to actually being credited with having done something before. So now with that under my belt, it kind of gave me a boost. And you know, my other teammates used it to get jobs and stuff like that. I didn't really want to go for a job per se. I didn't think that it'd be I would be able to be offered a position I would like want to enjoy and keep learning in. So I decided to go out on my own.
See, but getting that project for him, you know, like that project was at LMC, right? It was part
Yeah,
of
that was an LMC project. That was the first time. Sorry, the second time LMC ever did a project for NASA. The first time was like 4 years ago or 5 years ago now. It was a different task. I don't know how that one turned out, but this one actually proved quite successful because after the testing, they approached us again right before we left Houston to take the prototypes to Florida for their Nemo station. It's an underwater base, basically, where the astronauts train. They want to do further training, so I was assigned to be the contact with the engineers from the team to there over the summer. That was last summer, actually, I think it was, and kind of helped them and guided them through different functionality of the tool and how to use it and what to be aware of and stuff like that. And it ended up being, it ended up working properly, and they actually posted a picture of it on Twitter, I think it was, of them holding the sample underwater.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
See, but like it started off in a little school, you know, that's just weird. You know, LMC is not a huge community college. You know, that college is, you know, it's good for its size. You know, has great people, great students. It has great professors. I go there. You know, I love the environment because that's where I stepped into business first. I started the business club and I got involved. You know, joined the computer science club. And I did a lot of other things, and like just like Mark, you know, he was part of engineering tech. He did all his projects. It got him up on his feet because, you know, for me, college doesn't, you know, really correlate that, you know, you'll be a great entrepreneur or not. For me, it's like it was a start, just like how it was for Mark, because that's where he began, you know, starting his you know, looking into what he can do in engineering. You know, he took the biggest challenge, right? Sometimes people in life, they want to take the smallest thing, you know, like, oh, that's easy, so I'm going to do it. That class is easy, you know, it's not bad, I'll pass it with an A. Or let me take on this client because this client only wants a toolbox. When he has to create like this, the tool tray that you're creating, that's like really heavy into engineering and design and finding out the little nicks and knacks and how it works. So he takes the biggest challenge all the time because why? He said it perfectly himself. He wants to learn. You know, every time that you challenge yourself, you're taking on an opportunity to learn. You're not just taking the easy way out.
You're not pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to raise the bar as much as I can in any way I can. So in doing that project, I wanted to pick the hardest one. I wanted to make sure that no one else could figure it out because I wanted to figure it out. And if I failed, it would just be, you know, it would be like, okay, wait, maybe everyone else figured it out. No one else figured it out, so what did we do? But we figured it out eventually because we kept pushing for it.
Yep.
And that was the point, was if I had made something that someone else had made before in the past and it worked, it'd be like, so what? Okay, we had this already. But this is something they never did. And the engineers at NASA still, like, when we went there, they couldn't even figure out how we figured it out. They were like, you know, we've been kind of stuck on this for a while.
That's NASA engineers that couldn't figure it out.
So,
like him and his team, you know, they worked on it. You know, that just goes to show young people talent. You know, there's young people out there that can do these amazing things. We're not limited to what we can do. You know, I'm 19 and you're 20.
I'm 20.
You're 20? 20
Yeah.
on the dot? I thought you turned 21 already.
No, yeah.
Yeah, 20. See, we're only a year different. You know, he's an engineer. I'm into business. You know, I really love like trying to get into CS, computer science. You know, something that's more software. He's more hardware. But the minds, think of it. Like, thing I say is like it's different people. We have similar mindsets. You know, we all shoot for the same, you know, end goal, that we want to be successful. We want to have, you know, like to enjoy our lives and do the things that we really want in life and, you know, follow our passions. And we're both doing that. But look at that. I'm into business and, you know, we're both into business, but I'm into like, you know, going into software, hardware. It's the same route. You know, we got to work hard. We got to get clients. We got to focus on sales. We got to do this in business. We got to do it. We're following certain things that are going to get us to what we want. Just different, you know, we have just a different outlook on life sometimes. And it's not that it's bad. It's just that, you know, his interests are not the same as mine. Just like how you and me, anyone that's on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, you know, people that are watching, you guys may have totally different things like that you guys like other than what I like. You know, people really want to get into music, into the health industry, or whatever it is. Business is what lets us follow our passion, our dreams,
That's
the stuff that people want to do, right? Is at the end of the day, like, do you want to work for something that you don't want to do? Like, you know, I don't want to work in a McDonald's for the rest of my life. It could be a great starting job for somebody. I'm not saying it's a bad job, but do I want to be there and have a career there?
No.
Or do I want to have a lifestyle that I actually do every day and love to do it? And that's what Mark does. Because think about it, Mark's going to school, but he's happy because he's going to get his license. He's happy he's going to finally be able to do engineering. He can take another step into his company. You know, he can start actually doing the products, you know, getting out the prototypes. You never know, you know, when he comes back, we might work on some things, get him back on the show or something. But this is just the beginning for Mark and myself. And this is just, you know, I want to show people that young people can do it. Like, there's a lot of, I got a lot of young audience out there that, really think it's difficult that you can't start a business or you can't follow your passion, your dreams, and all that stuff. But it's really not true, because that's what schools kind of try to tell us, that we have to finish school before to do something. It's not that way. You can always work on stuff like how me and him did while we're in college, and still do things that we're doing now.
I think like the most important thing for people to understand is that's like a simple formula. It's like, what do you like to do? Like, what do you gravitate towards the most? Like, if you come home from school, what is like the first thing that pops in your mind to do? Or if you like have no homework, no other responsibilities, what would you prefer doing? And then figure out a way to get good at that, and then figure out a way to sell that. So it's like simple. It just takes time though. People like try to like get
Cut
up and
corners.
People try to cut corners. Like if I cut corners, if I touch some engineering software like the first day and I say, well, I'm just gonna start giving this out as a service, I'd probably be in so much trouble right now. You have no idea. It's like you have to be really good before you can even think about giving that service to someone else. And it all takes time. It took me 5 years to get to where I am right now, and I only barely started trying to sell my services. So it's like you have to be honest with yourself and see, okay, I like this, I'm not good at this, what am I good at?
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness, basically. You have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, I suck at this, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'll have someone else do that. Like, I don't do this live stream stuff. That's why I have Nilton helping me out with this. I suck at this stuff. I don't do that. But Nilton does. So that's kind of like the whole approach is to be honest with yourself and know what you like to do. Figure out a way to support yourself for doing it, or and it doesn't have to be your own company. It could be you can go and get your dream job somewhere, and someone can employ you to do what you like to do. But the point is, just figure out what you need to do to get there. And that's like the same thing with school, right? So the school thing, people say you have to finish school, get your degree, and then you can start working. It's only true for some professions. Like in engineering, you have to go to school and you have to get your license. If I didn't have to go to school to do what I like to do, I wouldn't be in school. But if you're going to school to study something that's not going to make you money or not going to give you the life you want, it's almost useless. It's like you're throwing away money. If you go to school for an English degree and then you end up working as a dental assistant, that kind of makes no sense, right? If you're going to write a book, you don't have to go to school to learn how to write a book. You have to learn how to write, of course, but then after you know the basics, you can start writing your own stuff. And you don't have to finish school and get a master's in English to write a book. You can just do it. Like I said, unless you need a certification, a license, like if you were a doctor, an engineer, lawyer, or I don't know where else would need a license. If you don't need any certification to do what you like to do, then all you have to do is just practice doing that one thing. Like an engineer doesn't need to take a drama class, even though it could be beneficial to some. It's not mandatory. You don't really need that whole class. You don't waste money on paying for that class. If you're a writer, you don't need advanced calculus. So like it's like you have to, when you're in school, you have to pay attention to what you need the most, what you want to learn, and how to get to where you want to go. And if someone tells you you have to finish your degree, then you have to, you pretty much are not informed enough to know what actually like life is like. Once you get out of school, no one gives a crap where you went to school. They just need to know if you know how to do your stuff, and if you are certified to do what you need to do. Like I said, if you don't need a certification, you're good. Like industrial design, that's why we're an industrial design company right now. You don't need any license to be an industrial design company. You can just start, it's just basically combining artistic and engineering aspects and then figuring out a way to put them together to bring out the best possible product for the client. But when it comes to engineering, when it comes to math and especially safety, then that's when it gets more complicated. Then that's when you need a license.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I wanted to design a new plane, I couldn't do that because I don't have the license for that. But I can design the seats for it. You know what I mean? Like how they look. And that's as far as my abilities go. We have a question.
Mark, where was your first job? What was your first job? I didn't even knew that either.
Well, like my first job, I want to say official job. My first job was working with my dad in construction, but he never paid me, so I don't know if I can count that. I don't want to say I never really had like an actual first job. I was like looking for one when I was 16 or so, and I could never really find one where I kind of wanted to do, and I've always been more of a self-driven person. So when we got called to do, after the NASA project, we all got picked up to do this job, a drafting job for an engineering company. And like by the second day, I don't know, I want to feel like I quit, but they actually let me go because I fell asleep during training. And it wasn't for me. It was too slow paced. It and at that time I already had those skills that I could do my own thing. I was just taking the job just as curiosity to see what they had to offer, but I ended up not fit. I didn't feel like I fit in with that type of job. So I mean, I was really grateful that they offered it to us, but that wasn't for me. So I mean, that was I guess my
Boys fell asleep
first
on
and
the job.
first and final official job in 2 days. I guess I want to say.
Boy fell asleep on the job. Well, you know why? Because it wasn't for him.
You know what I did? Oh, I did do an internship with Verizon though.
What?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I did an internship for like 6 weeks with Verizon. So I guess you can call that my first job. That was pretty cool.
Internships and a job. I mean,
I was working on roaming technology, doing a lot of spreadsheets, and that actually got me hella good at spreadsheets because I use it all the time now.
Well, I need to keep using them spreadsheets.
So I mean, it's not bad to have it. You know, I just didn't really feel like I fit in a regular job setting. And my dad also told me, he said, look, you know, my mom wanted me to get a job, and I was looking for one because I wanted some extra money. But then my dad was like, you know what, don't worry about it. You know, just hold off on trying to get money right now, and focus on your skills and develop those skills. So that's pretty much what I did.
Another question.
What's up?
What made you decide that you didn't want to get a job and you wanted to do it on your own?
Well, made me decide. I don't really like the whole. At first, I wanted to get a job like I wanted to work at a like an engineering company or like a cool. I actually want to do animatronics for puppets because I like mechanical stuff. No, I swear.
To get the dog, the little robot shit, like the
every type of like monster in a movie has mechatronics behind it, and I wanted to learn how to do that, but I didn't really know how, and that was when I was younger. Then my mom started telling me to get a job, and so I was trying to look for one. But at the final point, I started realizing how easy it is for people to be let go, and how easy it is for people to be replaced. And I didn't want to take that risk, because that for me is a huge risk. It's not as secure as people say. It's actually not secure at all. And you know, I went from one point to the next. A company can go down in business, and then you have to let your people go. And that's just a fact. Yeah.
Being laid off, all that stuff.
And doing my own thing, it's me who's keeping my head above water. It's not about I have to rely on an employer to keep me going for work. If a contract for like we have contracts with different companies. If one goes down, you can find another one, and we have multiple at the same time. So we're constantly juggling a few at the same time. So if one goes down, it won't completely kill us.
When you're in as your own business, it's like me and him. If he doesn't do work today, you know, work doesn't get done for tomorrow, and that's when it's due or whatever. It's all based on him. We're really, you know, responsible for our own work, for our businesses that we do. So that's another thing, is like some people don't want to take on the responsibility because they say, you know, I'd rather get a paycheck and then be out.
Yeah, no, I think
show up and get your money.
I think that's more dangerous because once that job cuts out, it's a wrap.
You can't get your money.
And also when my mom got laid off from AAA, that's when it really hit me. I said, okay, you know, screw this. I don't ever want to rely on someone else for a job ever.
Yeah.
If I can not do that, I'm gonna try as much as I can. I'm not saying that shit will never happen, and I'm gonna have to get a job somewhere else, you know, because business can go south anytime.
Yep, that's true.
But I try my hardest not to even get to that point, and I haven't yet. So, in seeing all that, I kind of noticed that that getting a job was all right in the beginning, but for long-term sustainability, it was not a very good gamble. And also, it's also culturally, like my dad he told me about stories about. See, we're from El Salvador, and he and his family, everyone in the family are all you know, sellers and merchants. Like they pretty much
just naturally
deal in all kinds of business and stuff like that in the marketplace, and kind of taking that heritage and bringing it to a different level and trying to sell it.
So naturally, you've been an entrepreneur because your family has been into it.
Yeah, like that. I've been that entrepreneur type since I was younger. Like in middle school, I used to build these shooters like out of an old 7-Eleven aluminum straw when they had the aluminum straws. Yeah, but I upgraded mine though. Mine I had like full rubber bands, like slingshot style, and I had So I built a whole bunch of them, and I would sell them to different groups of kids at school. And then during lunchtime, they'd have wars in the middle of lunch in the cafeteria, and then no one knew where all these things were flying.
Magarin PD.
So I was selling that, and you know, I made pretty good. And I would kind of pit some groups against each other. So I would just say, hey, bro, he wants to get up on this. Here's your supplies.
Setting them up.
Yeah. So I kind of, and then they would want more gear and stuff. So I mean, you know, it was a pretty good business in school.